Hey guys, this is the craziest weapon of all time. Cast yourself back to World War II, and the world was a very different place. In the early 40s, the US government was getting very creative with where they were coming up with their weapon ideas, and one of the most unusual ones of all was the bat bomb. The idea was to strap tiny incendiary bombs to bats and then release them over cities. The bats would then roost, and after a little while, the bombs would explode, not only lighting many buildings on fire, but across a wide swath of the city, it could cause some serious damage. So where did this crazy idea come from? Well, it was originally conceived by Little S. Adams. Little? Is it Lytle? Little?
Dr. Adams.
Dr. Adams, who was not only a dentist, but also a part-time inventor. And you know, some people invent like boats or like some stupid kitchen gadget. This guy invented bat bombs, but you know, I really don't have anything to say about that. It's a very unusual hobby. While on vacation, Dr. Adams stumbled across a bat cave and immediately thought, wow, I want to light them all on fire. Or, well, maybe he had some other thoughts, but I mean, come on, he invented a bat bomb. During that vacation, though, the attack on Pearl Harbor happened, which thrust the US straight into the middle of World War II and filled with a huge sense of patriotism. Obviously, the next step was to build bat bombs, naturally. Before you write him off as a mad scientist, though, Dr. Adams did work on some previous projects, including one that was going to supposedly help the US mail system be a little bit more efficient, and he did that with the help of the First Lady of the time, Eleanor Roosevelt. When the idea of the bat bomb reached the president, he replied famously, "This man is not a nut. It sounds like a perfectly wild idea, but it is worth looking into." And thus, the craziest project in the history of warfare had begun. Research commenced with the project codenamed X-Ray, which was hilarious because this had absolutely nothing to do with X-rays, but every cool project has to have a cool codename, right? Now, this whole idea actually isn't as crazy as it sounds. Now, bats are of course going to be nocturnal, and while they do typically dwell in caves, when it comes to urban areas, they actually are very commonly found in places such as barns, attics, and bridges. A key component to Project X-Ray centers around the fact that the bats can not only carry over twice their body weight when they're flying, but they can do it over fairly long distances. Dr. Adams teamed up with Louis Feiser, the inventor of napalm, to make all of this work. What happened was that each bat was equipped with half an ounce of napalm as well as a time-controlled explosive. And, well, yeah. Inside each bombshell, 1,000 bats were stacked in egg crate-like trays, which were kept cool to make sure that the bats were still in hibernation right up until the point in which they were released. After being dropped, the shell would spring open at about 4,000 feet, sending the bats flying on their way, and the bombs that are attached to them would be going off about 30 minutes later. Even though each individual bomb didn't cause a huge explosion, the real danger here is that you would have bats spread out across a huge radius. The initial estimates put each bomb causing about 4,500 fires over a 40-mile radius. Ironically, Project X-Ray was shown to be viable when a few bats escaped during testing and caused some serious havoc. 6 bomb-equipped bats escaped and promptly did exactly what they were supposed to do: nestle in some dark little corner somewhere, which just happened to be in the buildings of the Carlsbad airfield, and promptly the entire thing was burned down. But at least it worked. After 2 years and $2 million spent, Project X-Ray was officially shut down in 1944. Not because it failed, mind you. Not only was the project almost ready, but they had over 1 million of the incendiary devices on order. However, the problem was that all war efforts were quickly diverted to the atomic bomb. Meanwhile, Dr. Adams transitioned back to civilian life, where he had a long career of designing even weirder things, such as a fried chicken machine. Thankfully, that one was a whole lot less destructive than the bat bombs. At least, I hope it was.